Hi everyone, so as you can see I'm filming in a different location right now, and I just thought that it would be a kind of nice change. I don't know why, I was just kind of getting sick of the plain background and I felt like the light in there kind of made me look a little bit grey. So I don't know, I haven't decided if I'm going to film in here permanently or not yet, but I kind of like it. We're in my living room and yeah, so I just thought I'd kind of get that out of the way first. But this video is going to be a little idea that I had about drugstore products, because I know that they tend to be very popular and people love to know about drugstore products. And one of the hardest products to find, to get right, I think, is foundation, whether it's from the drugstore or whether it's a higher end brand. Foundation is something that's very, very difficult to get right. And I think that when you're kind of searching, especially in the drugstore, because you can't test things and you can't take them back in the UK anyway. I know that in the US it's slightly different and you can return things, but you can't take them back. You can't always test them properly. The lighting in there isn't always great. You haven't always got someone to stand there and help you, like like you'd have on a MAC counter or an Estee Lauder counter. So it can be quite confusing. But I've chosen my 3 favourite foundations and my 3 worst foundations, I suppose we'll call it. But first, let me just say that the worst foundations are not because they're horrible products. They just don't work for me for various reasons, and I'll just get started. The first one is by L'Oreal, and it's the L'Oreal Infallible Long Lasting Perfection Foundation, which looks like this. I hope you can kind of see in the camera what it looks like. But I did used to really like this foundation, and I think it even featured in a kind of drugstore favourites video I did a while back. But since my skin has become slightly more combination as opposed to oily, I feel like this foundation just doesn't look nice on my skin, and it was the type of product that, considering it was long lasting, it had a really nice finish, not a very matte finish, which was what I liked about it, but that also meant that it wasn't particularly long lasting, which I think is really important. I think you need your foundation, if you're buying something on the premises of it being a long lasting product, it needs to have the longevity to kind of see you through the day. And I feel like this just kind of clings to any oily patches and clings to dry patches, and it just doesn't really work for me anymore at all. So I wouldn't really recommend this one. I think the consistency is a little bit strained with it. Then I have a very, very inexpensive foundation. I'll put all the prices of these products in the description box, but this is around £3 I think, and it's the Miss Sporty So Matte Perfect Stay 12-hour matte finish shine control foundation, and I've got this in the shade 02, which is medium. And that's what it looks like. I know the camera's kind of not zooming in, but that's what it looks like. And I bought this just because it's very inexpensive, and I thought it would be good to kind of mix in because I needed a lighter colour because I'm just so pale at the moment. But what I don't like about this foundation is the finish of it. It hasn't got the most amazing coverage, and coverage is something that is important to me when it comes to picking the right foundation, because I like it to have a very kind of flawless natural finish, but I want it to have great coverage at the same time, so to kind of cover any problem areas, which for me don't tend to be acne. They tend to just be kind of discoloration on my cheeks and on my chin. But the finish of this is very strange. It's got a slight kind of powdery finish, and I really don't like that look. I like a kind of dewy look, or even a matte look, and sometimes satin finishes are nice too, but this has got a very powdery finish. It's kind of quite a chalky finish, and it doesn't last particularly well. It isn't particularly non-greasy either. I didn't find that my skin was any more matte when I was using this, so thumbs down for that one, not a big fan. And then last but not least, I've got the Maybelline Pure Foundation. This is in the shade 08 Golden Sand, and it's a mineral foundation. And my problem with this is the fact that it has 0 coverage. Now, I know that mineral foundation is kind of a bit of a touchy subject anyway, at least for me. I'm not a big mineral foundation fan. I like the kind of flawless look that a liquid foundation will give you. I just think it looks much more natural and much more perfect. Whereas with mineral foundations, all the ones I've tried I've just never really liked, but this one I like the least, and I've tried quite a few. The only one I haven't tried is the Laura Mercier foundation, which I really, really want to try. I think the lighting keeps changing in here, doesn't it? It's because I'm sat next to a massive window, so every time the sun goes in it's nice, and then it goes in and it's dark again. But yeah, that's English weather for you. But the coverage of this is really, really, really mediocre. I feel like it just doesn't cover anything, and it just leaves you with quite a kind of powdery finish, and the shade's a little bit orangey, and I just really, really didn't get on with this. It was a really terrible product for my skin. But maybe if you've got very, very good skin and you just want a little bit of tiny bit of evening out and no coverage, then something like this would work for you. And now moving on to the more positive aspect, I'm going to talk about my favourite foundations. So I'm going to start with a kind of cult classic, which is Revlon Colour Stay Foundation. This is in the shade 340 Early Tan, and this is a really, really great foundation, a really good, dependable foundation. It's one of the most long-lasting foundations that I have ever tried. It stays on your skin all day. It's very, very matte. I've got it in combination to oily skin, and they do a dry to combination version, I think, or dry to very dry. But this is a little bit more expensive. I think this is around £12, but this is absolutely incredible. It's really just really, it's not heavy coverage, but it's quite a blank coverage, if that makes sense. You apply it and you've got a very blank canvas. Some people like that, some people don't. I sometimes need it, but it's not my favourite type of finish because it conceals everything, and then you need to go and add dimension back to your face with contouring, highlighting and blusher and bronzer and that kind of thing. But it's very, very long lasting. If you've got oily skin and you know that you need something that's going to last all day and just stay looking perfect and stay looking fresh, then this is a really, really great one. And also, if you've got oily skin and you suffer from acne, this is an amazing one as well because it really conceals redness amazingly. Then I've got a foundation which isn't talked about very often, and it should be, and it's the No. 7 Beautifully Matte Foundation. Now, most of the foundations I tend to go for tend to be ones catered to oily skin because my skin is oily. But I do like the odd foundation like NARS Sheer Glow and MAC Face and Body that are kind of more suitable for drier skins as well. So it's not completely you've got to pick this type if that's your skin. And I have done a video about how to choose the right foundation for your skin type, which I will link in the description box for you to go and have a look at if you're interested in that kind of thing. But the No. 7 Beautifully Matte Foundation is in the shade it's in shade 20 Blonde, and this is very, very dark for me at the moment. It's not the right colour for me at the moment at all. I bought this when I just got back from holiday last year and I had a really nice tan, so it looked fabulous then, but now it's a little bit wrong. But this is a really, really lovely foundation, and when I first got this I didn't like it. I just couldn't get on with it, but the more I've used it I actually grew to love it. And when my skin was acting up, which was around September last year, my skin had just broken out really badly on my forehead and my chin. I think it was just stress related, to be honest, but my skin was really terrible, and this was amazing at concealing it, and it stayed, and it's got a very kind of dewy, not a dewy finish I suppose, it's more of just a polished satin sort of finish, and it looks amazing. It's a really kind of professional looking foundation. So I love this, and I've done a video of me applying this as well, so I'll put that in the description box if you want to go and have a look at what it looks like on the skin, because it's lovely. And then last but not least we have, and you knew I was going to mention this, Bourjois Healthy Mix Foundation, which looks like this. I am obsessed with this foundation at the moment. I think it's featured in my last 3 favourites videos, and for good reason. It's an amazing, amazing foundation. It's got a really kind of radiant, polished kind of look to it. I'm wearing it on my skin today actually. I don't know how well you can kind of see, but that's what I've got on my skin, and it isn't the best if you've got oily skin. My skin does get quite oily wearing this, but I'm willing to overlook that because of how lovely it looks when you're wearing it. It just goes on so naturally and so beautifully, and I've actually got 2 of these. This is in shade 54, which is beige, and I've got it in shade 56 as well for when I'm a little bit darker, and then when I'm in between I mix them. But I've been using this every day for the past 2 months or so, and I absolutely love this. And it tells you that it's, you know, radiance, hydration, antioxidant. It says it's got 16-hour wear. I don't think it's actually got 16 hours wear, but it has got a really long wearing formula, considering it's quite kind of dewy, light foundation, but it is quite buildable. So I absolutely love this one. I think it's £9.99 and it is incredible. So those are my best and worst picks for drugstore foundations. I was thinking about doing kind of like a lipsticks one and maybe mascaras and blushes and that kind of thing. But with those areas, I don't think I've got enough products that I really dislike to do a video about it. So I'm not sure about that yet. But just a quick what I'm wearing video, because I'm sure just a quick what I'm wearing kind of annotation, because I'm sure some of you will ask. My lipstick is L'Oreal Rouge Caresse in 6 Aphrodite Scarlet, which is just this kind of bright pinky colour. I've just got a kind of light wash of that on. My face, as I said, is Bourjois Healthy Mix. On my eyes, I'll just come a little bit closer, I'm wearing one of the Maybelline 24 Hour Shadow, whatever you call them, in On and On Bronze. And my necklace is another one of my mum's designs, which I'm really liking this one actually. And then my cardigan is just this kind of grey slouchy cardi from Romwe, and I love it. Really, really warm and really comfortable. And then I've just got a black t-shirt and a pair of Zara jeans on. So that's what I'm wearing. So yeah, let me know what you think about this setting and if you like it a little bit more, and I will see you all soon. Bye bye.